Every week, former WWE creative writer Kevin Eck will run down his burning thoughts from Raw, SmackDown Live, and the rest of the pro wrestling world. Raw thoughts. Am I the only one who thought it was a letdown when Bobby Roode was revealed as the Mystery Man making his Raw debut in the 10-man tag match main event? The way it was built up, viewers had to be expecting a major name, which Roode just isn't at this point. Roode is a talented wrestler, but other than his glorious entrance, there's just not much reason for fans to be invested in his character. In retrospect, it might have been better for Roode if he had stayed on SmackDown Live and turned heel. That would have allowed him to have fresh matchups against the likes of AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan and Jeff Hardy. More WWE Superstar Shakeup winners, losers, has mixed feelings about an alliance between Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre. I'm a fan of these guys, and I really hope putting them together benefits both of them. My fear is that Ziggler is such damaged goods that being aligned with him is going to bring down McIntyre. And that would be a real shame, because McIntyre has all the tools to be a world champion and has worked hard to reinvent himself and earn another shot at the big time. Thinks it was odd that Samoa Joe took the time to have a video package made of Brock Lesnar beating up Roman Reigns. So Joe isn't just an ass-kicking pro wrestler, he also has video editing skills. He must have some friends in the production truck as well, since they played the video when he called for it. The whole scenario seemed out of character for the Samoan submission machine. Said, "Thank God we don't have to watch another match between Jinder Mahal and Randy Orton," as soon as Jeff Hardy beat Mahal for the U.S. title. And now that Mahal is on Raw, while Orton stayed on SmackDown Live, we may never see that match again. That's enough to make anyone break out into their happy dance. Thinks Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas should be nervous now that The Miz has gone to SmackDown Live. Sure, they were just The Miz's hanger-ons, but that was a lot better than what they were doing before becoming the Miztourage. Axel and Dallas on their own without Miz is definitely not must-see TV. Raw general manager Kurt Angle might have some good news for them, though. More, getting a grip. Recap the biggest stories from this week in wrestling. Hated that Sheamus and Cesaro lost to Breezango? As soon as it happened I figured Sheamus and Cesaro were headed to SmackDown Live, and I was right, but just because it was their last night on Raw, doesn't justify them doing a job for a mid-card comedy act. A team as good as Sheamus and Cesaro should not be losing to Breezango, Titus Worldwide and a 10-year-old kid. SmackDown Live thoughts. Am I the only one who thinks SmackDown Live got the better end of the Superstar Shakeup? The Blue brand didn't lose any of its main players except for Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and it gained Jeff Hardy, Samoa Joe, Asuka, The Miz, Sheamus and Cesaro, Big Cass and NXT call-ups Andrade, Cien, Elmas with Zelina Vega, and Sanity. Thinks Samoa Joe going to SmackDown Live was the biggest move of the shakeup. Hardcore fans have to be salivating at the thought of Joe facing familiar foes in AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan on the big stage of WWE. If Styles and Bryan were ever to go against Joe and Shinsuke Nakamura in a tag team match, it would break the internet. Thinks Big Cass is going to end up being the Miz's heater? Miz is the type of heel who needs to have a numbers advantage, and Big Cass would certainly be an upgrade over the Miztourage. Having Big Cass in Miz's corner when Miz inevitably faces Daniel Bryan sure makes the outcome less predictable. Is ready for Asuka to take the SmackDown Women's title off Carmella? It's ridiculous that Carmella is the champion on a show that has Asuka, Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch on its roster. Didn't care for the angle with the Bludgeon Brothers, Usos and Naomi. If Luke Harper and Eric Rowan are really the remorseless monsters they've been built up to be, why would they back off from destroying Jimmy Uso? Just because USO's wife, Naomi, put herself in front of him and begged them to leave him alone. I guess Harper and Rowan must have realized that blasting a woman over the head with a giant rubber hammer isn't PG. Thinks Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson being separated from Finn Balor is bad news for the Good Brothers. The only thing Gallows and Anderson really had going for them was their association with their club buddy Balor. Short of them reuniting with AJ Styles, I don't think Gallows and Anderson's move to SmackDown Live is going to turn out well for them. Imagine the possibilities if Balor, Gallows and Anderson had all moved to SmackDown Live as a faction. They could have feuded with Sanity, or, if the club turned heel, Styles and Daniel Bryan. Miscellaneous thought: am I the only one who is already suffering from withdrawal even though being the Elite has only been gone for a week? The weekly YouTube series featuring Bullet Club's Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Cody, Marty Scurll and Adam Page reached a milestone with its 100th episode last week, but the episode was titled Finale, and a new episode was not uploaded this week. When I asked the Young Bucks about the future of being the Elite in an editor's note, shameless plug alert, exclusive interview at the Ring of Honor television taping in Pittsburgh last weekend, they said it was undecided. As I've said before, the Bullet Club Civil War angle featured on BTE was the best storyline in pro wrestling today. I laughed, I cried, I clicked on the links in the info box and bought some Bullet Club merch. I'm not willing to accept that it's really over. In the immortal words of Scurll, by way of Avril Lavigne, why'd they have to go and make things so complicated?